welcome to episode 62 of He's My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who are the thieves with me tonight?
Yakuza, Stefan JD.
Yakuza, Stuart Hughes.
Oh, God.
Jesus, my savior, my favorite flavor. I prefer God to my kids. Hi, I'm Justin Hamm. I'm from the Nerds Without Pants podcast and the Clickbait Update podcast. But you know,
one of our top 10 episodes, Yoshi's Island.
Oh, what's it really?
It's one of our top 10 right now.
Are you? It's Justin our most returning guest as well. No, I guess it's Emmanuel.
I was going to say this is my second time on the show.
So your second time for some reason I was thinking this is your third or fourth.
I will.
No, this is second time.
Come on, whenever though.
So, Nerds Without Pants, our sister podcast. We'll just say it.
I wouldn't know that.
I'm gonna claim it.
Oh, hey, I mean,
unofficially.
Yeah.
We had Julian twice.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to be on a third time, so he will officially have topped me. So, fuck him.
He'll be on Soul Reaver 2, then eventually Blood Omen 2, and eventually Legacy of Kain Defiance someday.
I need a hustle like that. I need to get a game series. You know,
everyone
good hustle.
Everyone needs a Mike in their podcast because Mike is just like something's wrong with his brain where he's like so good at promoting and keeping a list and organizing everything, and I don't understand it. Mike's like, I remember at some point you were like, I've planned out episodes for the next 6 months, and we were like, what the fuck? How?
yeah. I think this was planned out for me in like sometime in the summer or something. I don't even remember.
Oh my gosh.
It was planned out last year.
Yeah, I vaguely remember it happening, and then I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to do that thing." That's right.
My favorite is we plan so far in advance, and yet we don't we don't have a backlog yet because we just haven't had time to do one yet. And so it's still like we have a list for the next 6 months, but then it's like, okay, day before we release it, start recording.
That sounds about the level of organization that Clickbait Update has. Except we don't plan anything in advance. It's like, seriously, the day before, and then we're like, let's do these lists. Okay, great. The end.
I can't handle that. One quick thing I want to give a shout out to before we get too far in. I will have a link in it won't be in the show notes, this will be published before, but I actually got this guest on the Classic Gamers Guild podcast again, talking about Alice. So if you still want to hear more about American McGee's Alice, I'll promote it on the Facebook channel, on the Facebook page for everybody. So I was on their podcast, so definitely if you want to hear more about Alice, give them a listen.
Okay.
I need Mike to pimp me out to other podcasts more often too. I've only been on one other podcast. I'm like,
I'm actually might be on that one again too, on Trash Talk coming up here.
Oh really?
They're going to do Castlevania C3. All right, I think Stu, why don't you introduce what we're going to be talking about tonight?
Sure. We played a 1999, I guess, shoot 'em up game, which I picked for reasons I don't remember. Grand Theft Auto 2.
Yeah, you don't remember?
I was gonna
really
ask.
Want to know why you picked this shit.
Yeah,
I can say I picked it because I played it as a kid.
Okay.
When I was a young child, I was playing Grand Theft Auto. I want to say I had it on like the original. I had the PlayStation 2, and somebody gave me like a ton of PlayStation 1 discs, and one of them was like Missile Command, and the other was GTA 2, and I was like, well, GTA 2 seems way more fun than Missile Command.
Yeah, you know about that.
No wonder you turned out to be a gangster.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is I played GTA 2, and then I probably ended up putting way more hours into Missile Command because that game is just like addictingly fun. Yeah, I remember playing a lot of GTA 2 as a kid, and I was like, I haven't looked at this in probably 15 years. If only I had a way to talk about it with a group of people.
and you probably shouldn't have looked at it for another 15 years, but you know.
Yeah. This will be an interesting one. This will also be the probably one of the shortest episodes we've done because
Sure.
I don't know. I'm on the show, and I have a tendency to make things that should be like a half an hour turn into an hour and a half extravaganzas for no reason.
Well, part of this is a test because usually when Mike says this will be a short episode, it guarantees a 2-hour episode. That is 100% what happens. I'm seeing what happens if I say it.
I'm fucking in. Let's do it.
Next week is a 3-hour episode, so I'm okay with this.
If I say it's short, is it going to go for 5 hours? What's going to happen?
How about we start by talking about seals? How do you guys feel about seals? I like seals.
They're water dogs. They're just wet dogs.
Yeah, and they're allowed to go on land, and it's fine. Don't if you get them wet, it's considered harassment. So don't do that.
Is that true?
That's true. Yeah, don't get the seals wet. They don't if they don't want to be wet. You don't get them wet.
Well, they come from that. What is their natural habitat? They come from wet.
I just like to imagine that there's like people on beaches just sitting around with buckets of water, like "fuck you, seal," and they just throw water at them. Like,
or
that's
better yet, they see the seal come up on the beach, and they're like, "Oh my god, he needs water!"
Right, exactly. Anyway, GTA 2.
For any of those that don't know, it was published by Rockstar Games, made by DMA Design. I have no idea who they are.
Yes. Kind of a weird situation. It was published by Rockstar, but around this time was when Rockstar became Rockstar. Before that, they were BMG.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like passed around a little bit. And like at some but this was way back in the day. Rockstar was a subsidiary of Take-Two. And so initially it was developed by BMG and published by Take-Two. And then somewhere along the production line, it switched and it became developed by DMA and published by Rockstar Games.
Well, that's weird. I didn't know they were a part of Take-Two.
Yeah, it was right as they kind of like became their own company.
Yeah, Rockstar is like, it's amazing that this franchise became what it did after playing this game.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Yeah, Rockstar, like Take-Two still, I believe, publishes like a lot of Rockstar stuff. They're still kind of the publishing force, but I don't know. I could be wrong on that.
Yeah, like to tell everybody right now, because I know some people will listen to this and like play some of the games that we play or play them afterwards. Don't like, we're going to talk about this game, but don't immediately be like, oh, I should play that because it's Grand Theft Auto. It's not. What Grand Theft Auto is now is so far removed from what Grand Theft Auto started as.
Yeah.
And that's also part of the reason I put it on the show, because GTA 1 and GTA 2 were very different games. It wasn't until 3 came out that they started really doing like, okay, now it's going to be like a pop culture kind of just like parody, but more than a parody, it's just like a send up of all pop culture in general.
Well, like even 3 like didn't even hit the high mark yet. I feel like it was just the beginning of that 3D. Here we go,
man. 3 at the time was a fucking revelation, though. Like going back to that when that game came out, that it like blew people's minds with just everything that was in it, and mainly because it was like edgy. It like you can see a lot of like where 3 got all of its ideas or a lot of its ideas in these GTA 1 and 2, but like it's amazing going from like this game to GTA 3. Like like I said, a revelation. Like I was talking with my co-host Julian Titus about this game because I was like, man, I played this game and it's fucking not very good. And he was like, yeah, that sounds right. And I was like, man, he's like, I imagine the story is like pretty bad. Like, is there even a story in that game? I was like, I mean, kind of there is.
The first 10%, like the first mission of GTA 3 has a story, and then there's a story mission halfway through that's kind of important involving the Italian mafia, and then the very end of the game it's like, okay, we're doing the story again, and that's the only time there's like dialogue that matters.
Yeah, like this game has no real story. You start off, you're dropped off in some random district, the downtown district. You get like a quick mission where it has you drive to each of these stupid payphones to talk to each one of the gangs, and then you get to choose who you work for, but at the same time you kind of have to work for almost a little bit of all 3 gangs
you work
in order to get enough money. I mean, but at the same time you have to like finish working for one person, then kill a bunch of that gang to make another gang like you, because you just murdered all their people, and then you can do a couple missions for them.
If anyone doesn't know, a payphone is this thing that used to be a phone that you'd have to go up to and put a quarter in and call somebody because you didn't have a cell phone.
It's where the term dropping the dime came from.
Yeah.
And this game takes place
a completely fine movie. Sorry. What was it? Was that Colin Farrell? Who was it? No, that was Phone Booth.
Oh, you're talking about that terrible movie?
Yeah, Phone Booth.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I like it.
That movie
I saw it.
It's completely fine. It's It's a completely fine movie.
Yeah,
It's not good, but it's not
man.
bad. It's just fine.
So this game's supposed to take place in 2013, but I don't think there were any payphones in 2013. I think they were already gone.
I recall some payphones in 2013, but in 2013 I was in DC and they never get rid of anything. So
Yeah, I was gonna say they didn't know.
that's true.
They didn't
Like senators.
Who could have predicted cell phones at the time, even though there was already cell phones around at the time? You know what? Let's not think too hard about it. Then again, if you're dealing with crime stuff.
It took years to get cell phones in GTA. GTA didn't have cell phones until Grand Theft Auto 4.
Right. Well, I mean, if you're dealing with crime stuff, crime movies at the time, and like crime like pop culture, like okay, Sopranos was big in '99. Like that was a big thing. Every deal that goes down in the Sopranos series is always done on a payphone because they think the lines are bugged, so they would just call each other on payphones all the time. They wouldn't use cell phones, none of that stuff, because they can intercept the calls. Tony, we don't want to do that shit. I don't know.
This is that weird period where like cell phones existed, but it was too expensive to get a burner phone. So yes, you had to use a payphone.
Yeah,
Which is true. I remember selling them in like 2009, and so they weren't that cheap to buy a cell phone.
No,
right?
and
Burner
now
phones are cheap, but
You can get a
not like
burner
now.
phone for like a couple bucks now. Not that I know.
It was like $50, $100 at the time, and then you had to buy minutes, and like it was stupid. But enough of that shit.
I like even the cover art of this game is so wildly different too. If people should look up the like Grand Theft Auto 1 and Grand Theft Auto 2 cover art, because they're so far removed from like the style that Grand Theft Auto.
They're not a collage like the 3 and onward. They're just it's a taxi cab with a sniper rifle like scope on top of the taxi cab, and the guy's getting into it, which makes no sense.
It's still a collage, but it's a collage like they don't have the borders on it. It's if you look at it closely, it's collage. No, it's not the same picture. If you look at it closely, it's a collage of 4 different streets that are just like meshed together. So it's like this kind of ugly gray with a crosshair and a taxi cab right in the center. I actually had a poster of that cover art because I kind of like it. It's bad. Like it's not the same, but it's like I don't know. Something about it is so like 90s.
You have strange taste. I do agree on that one.
Yeah, this is a very like this game does have a style to it because that's
well, yeah. I was just gonna say, bad is the style, not good.
But to be fair, bad was the style of the 90s.
That's true. Yeah,
the 90s was hideous.
I mean, the best way to describe this is like if you watch the trailer to this game or the opening cinematic, it feels very 90s.
Oh man, that opening cinematic is fucking hype. Don't
like style.
Don't make fun of that. That somebody put a lot of hard work into that for their college class. Okay, don't make fun of that.
Exactly what I was gonna say. It looks like it's every student film that came out the year after The Matrix. That's what it is.
That's exactly it. Yeah,
somebody got accredited hours.
And I looked it up because GTA 2 was released on late in the year in '99. I was like, when did the first Matrix come out? And it came out like a few months before in 1999. I was like, they saw the Matrix and they were like, this is what we want. Guys in trench coats wearing all black.
It reminds me more of a Guy Ritchie film, but like a really shittily made Guy Ritchie film. It's
student film stylized. It's but I kind of love it because it's like it's bad, but something about it is just like it's like comfortably bad.
It's charming.
I recognize this.
I totally agree.
The style. It's like the people are gonna give me shit for this, but it's like the Darude Sandstorm video where it's like this is so over the top 90s bad, but I've seen it so much I kind of love it now.
Right?
It's like the Run Lolo Run music video.
Oh God.
Okay. What I do want to say is I was kind of excited to play this. Like I started playing it. I remember I was even telling Stefan, like, okay, it's kind of fun at first. And the controls is like Stefan had described this perfectly. He said it's like tank controls from a top-down perspective.
Yes.
And it makes I can't think of times I was trying to drive a car and I was going the wrong direction at first, and after I would just start driving, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And this is after playing the game for like 6 hours.
For whatever
I still
reason,
forget.
I played this game we were talking before about playing the game as a kid. I did play this game a lot as a kid because when I was a kid, I was a big pothead, and this was one of the few games that a friend of mine owned. So we would get high and just sit around and pass a controller on GTA 2. I don't know what the hell we were thinking. We were stoned. What the hell were we doing? When I picked this game up, it all immediately came back to me. Like I knew exactly how to do it. I was like, oh yeah, tank controls, top down. I was right back into it. But I could see like somebody else like picking this up. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do here? Like your guy controls like a car. You have to hold the button in to go forward, and you never know quite where you're aiming at because there's no real good indicator until you start shooting.
Yeah. So everyone uses the machine guns because that's all you can use. That's the only way you'll know where you're firing.
It's useless.
Yeah, it's absolutely useless.
Yeah, the only way the game was playable for me was because I immediately went, how the fuck did we used to play this? Because, man, we used to play this a good amount. And I remember, like, this not being as bad and getting guns a lot easier. And I was like, oh, yeah, cheats. That's what you have to do. You put in cheats.
I had to Game Shark this game in the 2nd district. I just could not do some of the missions, and I ended up turning off all the cops because they were annoying me. And when I got to the 3rd district, I could only do so many missions. Like, okay, now you got to go steal a cop car. I'm like, oh, I'll just turn off the cheat. No, it didn't work. So I finally went and saved, turned off the cheats, reset the game. Cheats wouldn't turn off. So I'm like, well, I guess fuck it. I did max money codes. Oh, look, the ending.
This game has
you can enjoy this game, but be careful with that no cop cheat. It doesn't turn off.
I'm shocked this game even has an ending. That's amazing to me.
Not really.
But technically, it has
the end.
Oh, okay, great.
Technically,
that sounds
it has a movie connected to it. The opening of this game was actually the opening of this game. It starts with it's like the city in the collage, and you're like, okay, like this is very GTA. But then it immediately cuts to like live action video sequences. Like, what is going on? And that was actually a short film that they did. That was like that DMA, which DMA is now Rockstar North. Rockstar North did in live action, and it's an 8-minute short film of Claude Speed, the lead Claude, who was like the lead character of GTA 3.
Is he really? Okay.
He actually wasn't. He was the lead character of GTA 2, but the lead character of GTA 3 is also named Claude. But
I think he's named Gecko. Right?
Yeah, he's Claude Speed, also known as Gecko.
I didn't even know that character.
Jumbo.
I didn't even know that. Yeah, I didn't even know that character had a name. If I'm being honest, like in GTA 3, they never tell you his name. They even kind of like make a joke about it in San Andreas. Like, there's a mission where that guy pops up and he just doesn't speak or have a name or anything. Like, you just you just see him and you go, oh hey, it's the guy from GTA 3, and then that's it. It's
and he has Carlito with him too. That goes over really well.
I want to say that's when you learn his name. I don't know if you learn his name in GTA 3.
I don't think his name.
Yeah,
but I don't know how.
Technically, I mean, they're basically the same character. They were meant to be the same character, which is odd because it's a very strange. Because in the movie, he is like he's speaking, he's emoting, he's like. Right. He's a 90s over the top action hero.
Well, I mean, he emotes like if you stay in one place for a long time because you were waiting out the one cop head, because you can only wait out one cop head in this game. You can't, if you get to 2, you're fucked. You have to find a spray thing. But you can hide from one cop head. If you sit there and wait long enough, he will just start smoking. And that's really the only personality. Oh, and don't forget about the burp and fart button. Very revolutionary of its time. Let's not undersell that. I mean, what game nowadays would we accept that doesn't have a burp and fart button? I think we owe a lot to this game. I'm just saying.
It was so stupid. Like if we were saying earlier, like you do a bunch of different missions for this game, and like I should say the first 3 gangs that you can work for, because each district has 3 different gangs, except one seems to isn't all 3 for some reason.
The Mishima Zaibatsu rule over all.
It's Yakuza, the Loonies, and Zaibatsu in the first district. And I did some of the missions, but there's one you have to get an ice cream truck, get explosives, drive it into an insane asylum to blow up the Loonies. Like, it is just stupid as hell.
I love it's the most like it's like over the top even for GTA if you really think about it. Like the Loonies are like so this is kind of fallen out of favor with GTA, at least with GTA 5, because gangs weren't really a thing in GTA 5. There were some gangs in like Franklin's storyline, but they weren't
not like 3 and 4. Not like in 3.
Yeah, they weren't important to the story. And 3 and 4 and San Andreas and all the way back to 1, gangs were very important. Like the fact that the city was like divvied up by these different groups was very important.
It's kind of like that movie The Warriors or like Judge Dredd or something.
It's exactly like The Warriors.
Yeah.
So you have like the loonies who are legitimately a bunch of like escaped mental patients who their turf is an old abandoned mental asylum.
Possibly cannibals.
Possibly cannibals.
Yes. And as you do missions and you piss off the other gangs, they all start trying to kill you. Like you have a respect bar, which is like a big part of this game where you have to balance it out. So that way you don't, I mean, like after you do all missions, then you got to go kill a bunch of people to rebound. And there were times when I'd be in a mission, I would run over some of that gang and I would lose respect points. And then all of a sudden I couldn't do a mission.
Right. Yeah.
That would piss me off. Like I would be going to the phone, it'd be ringing, and I run over someone, I lose their respect bar, and I go, we don't want to talk to you. Go kill some other people. I'm like, damn it.
Not necessarily the gameplay, but that aspect of the game I like. I love games where there's like, I know a lot of people don't. I personally am so into that when you have a game where it's like, okay, these are the 4 groups and you have to balance your reputation with them. I like that kind of gameplay.
You have to think about cool. I mean, I liked it in the first district. The first district, I thought
we were just talking about Watch Dogs before this episode started.
Yeah,
Watch Dogs does
because it's free on Epic Game Store next week at the time of this recording.
Probably more like Saints Row in that aspect, I think.
Yeah, Saints Row. I mean, GTA San Andreas was all about that.
Yeah. Why did you pick one of the good ones?
Because I wanted to play the bad one. I almost did. I almost did pick GTA 3, but I was like, it's so long.
It's short enough.
Yeah. It should be noted that like the problems that it sounds like you have when you're like going to get a mission and you accidentally run over gang members or hit a cop or something like that is due to how zoomed in the camera is, because it's made to like get you in trouble. There is no way to stop yourself half the time, depending on what you're driving.
It's way too small. Like you do not get to see enough of the screen to know what you're doing. Like there'd be times when I'd be driving, I would just stop driving just so I could let the camera and then keep driving just because I couldn't see anything.
Well, it's funny because that's initially what GTA 3 was going to be. It was going to be 3D, but it was going to be top down still and zoomed out a little bit more. And I want to say they had an option to like zoom out further.
Yeah, they did. They absolutely did. I've messed with that mode before. It's not very good because they made it in 3D. So like a lot of the buildings and stuff would just get in the camera's way, so you couldn't see your guy, which is a problem in this one. Like if you go under a bridge or something, like you're represented by an arrow, but you can't see any cars around you, so you're just bound to hit something at some point. Like
it was really bad.
I missed that arrow. It's the classic. They tried to do the arrow in like, I want to say one of the GTAs, maybe was it always the arrow until they switched to the yellow line GPS and like GTA 4, where it was just the arrow pointing in your vague direction? That stayed in the series for a while.
Yeah, I can't remember if that came from. I think you're right. I think it was GTA 4. Yeah. Might have been.
That was like an old racing game tactic.
GTA 4.
Just
Vice City is the pink arrow
direction.
Yeah.
That was an old racing game trick that thankfully is gone. I like it in some aspects because it's just is stylized. But I prefer
might have been Vice City too that had the map where it kind of tells you where to go.
Yeah, Vice City did. Yeah.
Okay, Vice City's really good.
Well,
Vice
a lot of them.
I'm sure
a lot of them did it on the map, and then like eventually we're like, hey, why don't we make people stop looking at the map? And like because I've just played through like Saints Row 3 not too long ago, and like when you drive through the city in that game, like it's like basically having big green arrows point you in the way you're supposed to go, so you almost never have to look at the map unless you want to.
Yeah,
that's a good game.
I know that's a big argument for when people say like, oh, video games are like, oh, they hold your hand now because they show you where to go, but to me, that just means like no game that does that to make it easier. They do that, so it's like, all right, this is easy. Now we can focus on making the game more difficult in other aspects.
Yeah, the people who say that should play this fucking game and watch themselves get boxed into buildings because the map design's so fucking shitty that you just drive into alleys and there's no exit to it. There's like one exit. It's like, hey, run around the walls until you find the exit. Fuck you. Oh my god.
That happened to me a ton in the second district when you're working for the rednecks. Literally, they're called the rednecks.
Yeah.
And their symbol is the Confederate flag is on top.
It's
of
ahead of its
cars.
time. This game
I'm
is
so
ahead of its
surprised.
time. Yeah,
Oh,
they have
God.
the Confederate flag on their car, and they're all hilariously racist. Like they're all terrible.
Oh, and their second mission, which I don't remember doing this, or one of the missions you can do is called Blow Job Blow Up. Is the name of the mission. I can do that one.
You know
my
what's
favorite thing about the Rednecks is like GTA games, this is the same. You have different radio stations. The radio stations have always been one of my favorite aspects of the games because they add so much flavor to the world. The Rednecks radio station is called Rebel Radio because of course it is.
Yeah.
and the like half the time the people on Redneck Radio, whenever they like talk to other people, they just talk about how much like rap sucks and how classic rock is better and how there should only be classic rock and rap should just go away. Like, that's all they talk about. It's great.
I like a lot of the DJs. Like I did notice something, at least when I was playing, and this might have been in like whatever version I was playing, but like I noticed like a lot of the songs were actually the same no matter what station you were on. It was just a different DJ. Which, if you don't listen to
time to get to where we're at now with radio stations and games.
I mean, there's a few that are different. Like there is the Krishna radio station, which is my absolute favorite because it's just weird Christian music. That's the lyrics that I used earlier. That song has been burned in my brain ever since I was in high school when I heard it because it was hilarious to me, and it's still funny. When it came on, I loved it.
That's Heavenly Radio, is what that?
Yes, good old Heavenly
Radio station.
And then I'm
call me a classic. Call me a classic. I'm a fan of Rockstar Radio with Sammy Star Rock because that's the most like that is the most like corporate forward thinking radio station that it's just the most like by the numbers formulaic of like, yeah, welcome to Rockstar Radio. I'm Sammy Star Rock. And it's like plays like soundboard clips everywhere. I'm like, yeah, that's hilarious to me.
Yeah, I liked my favorite was Dean France. He was always my favorite. He just does like a bad Dennis Leary impression all the time. Which is fun. He's like, hey, this is me, Dean France. And he's like, somebody stole my car because everybody's had their car stolen as a DJ. Like if you're a DJ in that city, you just had your car stolen.
Like his breakdown too. Like he keeps bringing it up.
Yeah, all the time. It's like I'm in a room and I'm surrounded by people, but I'm the only one here. I'm all alone or something. I'm like, what the this man is insane, but I like him. I enjoy his company on my radio station.
There's an interview he does on that where he's talking to somebody and halfway through he just goes like, God, it was my fifth fucking car. I'm gonna buy a sixth car this fucking month alone. It was my fifth car. The person's like, should I go?
You know, it should be noted that this game has a teen rating.
Yeah.
I can't believe that it has a teen rating, but it does. Like,
it should.
Well, they I don't know. At the time, they were probably a lot more lenient about stuff like that, and they got rid of a lot of the stuff from the original one, like in GTA 1. And I learned this from a review, and then I was like, oh yeah, that's right, because this was one of the first things I tried. Like in GTA 1, if you ran somebody over or killed them, there was like this really like rapid decay. It was really cheesy and stupid. Like the people would just like turn into bloody skeletons on the ground, and then you could run them over with your car, do a burnout, and like you'd get blood trails in the tires and stuff like that. Yeah. And it was a neat little touch. And this game doesn't have that. Like if you hit somebody with your car, and because I tried it, I was like, oh man, I can't wait to do that again. And I did it. I was like, oh, that's not in this game. Oh, yeah. So they cut a lot of stuff like that. Probably to get a teen rating for whatever fucking reason. Nobody's kid should have played this.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
Didn't
weird.
you play this as a kid?
I was in high school, so it was fine.
Oh, okay.
I was 10. No. I played this, and I played the GameCube version of The Sims. Those were like the two games I played for all summer. I like how the radio stations only. But there's Zaibatsu, which works everywhere.
Right.
The Zaibatsu station is oh god, which one is that? That's
Dean Francis, I'm pretty sure, because he always had
it's like pop and funk music, and that could, like, because Zaibatsu is like, they're not really a gang so much as they are like a corporation that just secretly controls everything. Which
I mean, they're the Mishima Zaibatsu. They have the Tekken Forest and the whole thing. It's fine.
Yeah. And that makes sense. That goes everywhere. But then you have like the Yakuza station is only in downtown where the Yakuza are, and it's like they're gang. I like it. Like Stefan said, the Warriors. it's very much like the Warriors, where the stations are also giving out like information while they're talking. That was like my favorite thing in the Warriors, is the woman who would come on the radio and you never saw her face, you just saw her mouth, and she would just like give out information about the Warriors coded so that the police wouldn't understand, and then the other gangs would be like, oh, we got to get to this area, like, oh, it looks like our downtown Warriors have started on their way to Coney Island. They're in baseball territory. I hope no sluggers come to find them. And then all the sluggers start coming out of like bathroom stalls.
Yeah.
I love that.
One of the best moments of that movie too.
It's so great. And I like that I kind of wish that was the case in later GTA games of like, okay, this radio station works for this gang, and so it makes sense that it's really localized only to this area.
Well, this one is supposed to be like, and I didn't get this vibe at all, but it's supposed to take place in Anywhere USA, and it's supposed to be semi-part apocalyptic. I didn't get that. I don't know if it's supposed to come across just in the mindless violence.
Right. It's really more if it sounds to anyone like we're describing Hotline Miami, it's because we kind of are, because Hotline Miami is kind of based off the earlier GTAs. That was kind of them saying like, we want to make a game like GTA 1, like that early top-down violent game.
Actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So it is somewhat like, it's like it takes place like 12 years in the future. It's supposed to be pretty dystopian, and it like, when you like, they don't say that in the game, and I wish they did, because it makes sense as to why everyone is just nihilistic and violent. It is the perfect world for like a 90s video game to exist in.
Right. Yeah. There's plenty of room to give a backstory. Like, they could probably do it, but they just don't. They just
don't have it, and
they just don't want to.
It would have been. It wouldn't even need that much. It just like change some of the dialogue in like the radio stations, and have the radio station. That's how you get information about the world. That's how you know what's going on, really.
Right.
That's how they should have told the story, I think.
Yeah, and all you get is somebody stole my car. And it's like, all right, yeah, I get it. People steal cars a lot.
Yeah. It's 99, so you can only expect so much. But if this game, if there were to be a remake of this game, which I'm absolutely saying there should be, do it a little bit better, but there should be a remake of this game, I think, and have that kind of radio styling. That'd be great.
I disagree. They should never touch this thing again. They should let this die.
Well, people like Hotline Miami, doing the style of Hotline Miami.
Oh, there is a game. Okay, so if people like are interested in something like this and want a more refined version that's actually good, I know what
you're about to recommend. I think I know what you're about.
Oh, there's I can't remember the name of it. It's there's like a top-down GTA game that came out.
Chinatown Wars?
No. But that you could play that too.
Yeah, game I've heard. Yeah,
not a GTA
game. There's a game that's like GTA that's done in this style.
Yeah, I want to say it. I think it's like American Fugitive or something. Let me look up.
Yeah, it's American Fugitive.
Okay, yeah, and like basically it gives you like it's kind of a more rural atmosphere. You can like, it has like home break-ins, and there's like this weird thing where you like go room to room and like loot people's shit, and then you have to run away, and it's very much stylized in these games, but actually not terrible. And I'm sure they did map design a lot better than these games. Apparently, one thing that we all probably missed, because I don't think any of us looked this shit up. Apparently, in the instruction booklet, they give the map to all the cities, which I maybe would have been helpful, but not. I don't know, because I never knew where the hell I was at any point. Like there was just no way of knowing. But apparently, that was a thing that they had in the instruction booklet. So everybody playing in the future, fuck you, because
that was
not going to work out.
That was it. Yeah, I definitely remember having that map, but it wasn't. It was like good, but it was like it wasn't stylized at all. It was a very basic map, and it had like yellow dots all over it.
I believe it.
It was really bad, and it's something I miss in games. It's something I really, really miss. GTA. I want to say up to 4. I don't know if 5 did it. All the GTA games came with maps of the cities.
Yeah, 5 had a map.
5 had a map too.
Yeah, the original, at least the original one did. Like the Xbox 360.
I'm gonna go find my GTA 5 case.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it did. Like it came with a big They all came with like big posters and stuff.
Oh, and huge posters.
Pretty sure that one had a map. Yeah,
like GTA
did. Yeah.
GTA, they always did it, and they did like really cool stylized maps, and the maps were actually legitimately useful at times.
Right.
And then like not Bethesda games, but the Elder Scrolls games always came with a big map. I miss that. I want that back. It's such a cool thing to throw in like a print media.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have kind of just gone away from that because digital games have kind of like, it makes it kind of hard to do stuff like that. And not enough people are buying physical games. That's why GameStop is going to die. Like,
well, that's
calling my shot now.
That. I mean, yeah, it's going to die. They should switch to that though. I think game companies, it would be a smart move to say like, okay, you can buy it digitally, but if you buy the print version of it, like it'll come with this little map, it'll come with this cool thing. I understand. I am like one of those people that for the longest time I was like, I want to go fully digital. I don't care about covers. I don't care about that. When I got the Switch, I bought a couple physical copies of games, and almost every Switch game has a reversible cover with really good art on it.
Right.
Like, I like that. I like having that.
Yeah,
I think it's a smart move.
Yeah, you and Julian Titus would get along. I don't care. I'll be honest. Like, it's one of those things. This is why people buy collector's editions of games. Like, this is totally off topic, but I bought like the Final Fantasy VII remake one. Hopefully, I get it because they keep emailing me about it and being like, "Hey, do you still want to buy this?" I'm like, "Yeah." And now I'm like, every time they email me, I'm like worried about it. Anyway,
are you sure? Please tell us.
Yes,
like, yes,
please. Yes, I still want to buy it.
They have like no confidence in their own game.
Are you sure? At least not I mean, it is an expensive ass edition. Don't get me wrong. It comes with like a big cloud action figure motorcycle.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
I couldn't not do it. Anyway, I could have not done it. But anyway, this is why people like buy those editions. Like that's why they make those. And that's, for the hardcore, for the casual people that are like, I just want to pay $60 and get a game. Like they're not going to do that because there's too much cost involved in printing all that stuff. It's not worth their investment. Games cost a shit ton of money to make now. Like in these days, it was a little bit easier. I mean, this game, they probably fucking went to McDonald's and worked there for like a week and made this game. I don't know how they did it. But fucking, yeah, like, oh, excuse me. They probably I don't know, man. This fucking game sucks. I don't know what you want from me. But there's too much cost in doing that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So I don't think you're going to see a resurgence of that. They'll probably still make the big collector's editions, and that will be what you get for something like that. But I don't know. It depends on the audience, and it's always going to be limited quantity. You got to be a fanatic for a game, and you're going to end up shelling out a lot of money to do that. And then you always risk of like, oh, hey, we put the wrong type of bag in this thing. And then the fan backlash is huge. Looking at you, Fallout 76, stuff like that, like there's a lot of
canvas bag. It was totally like a canvas bag.
It's totally canvas. Don't fucking question it. Stop asking questions.
Why is it made of weird plastic that keeps ripping? No, that's canvas. TM.
Yeah. Please buy our shitty looking jacket. That came with that. But yeah, you're always so that's kind of the world we're living in right now. Like digital games are a big thing. Like I buy everything digitally.
Even
I don't miss a book.
Come with files though. I've noticed.
Yeah, and
a lot of people don't know that too. By the way, a lot of games people get, if you just like do like a little bit of investigation, like looking at the game, maybe look at the files sometimes, check where you bought it from. Like I just started playing Division 2. Bad week to start playing Division 2. Very, very bad week to start playing Division 2.
Why?
Yeah. Not to date the episode, but this is a very bad time to play Division 2.
Right.
And it's like any Ubisoft game. Ubisoft is usually pretty good about like, if you buy the game and you just go in like their club rewards, it's okay, here's like a character icon pack. If I want to use their characters for like avatars on any sites, here's like a bunch of art that I can use as the desktop background of my computer. I love that shit.
Yeah. PC games are pretty good about like, hey, we put like some artwork in the files. Like if you look around in them and stuff like that. Like, I just played through a game recently. I'll preview it for whatever episode of NWP I'm going to do because I love this game. It's called Yes, Your Grace. And like, I was like, oh man, this game is really good. And I really like this fucking song here. And I would really like to buy the soundtrack. I went and bought the soundtrack on there. And then it's like in the game files and stuff. I'm like, oh, cool. Awesome. And like stuff like that. Like you can still like shell out extra money for files. And I'm cool with that. I like files.
I can't remember what game it was, but I remember I got a game for PlayStation. And I remember reading on the back of the box, like it came with some stuff. And I was like, it's not in it's not in the box. I don't understand. And I was like looking into it. I looked at the manual. I was like, oh, I need to take my PS2 disc and put it in my computer, and the files are on the disc with the game.
Yeah,
it's so weird to do it that way.
I think I remember that. Yeah,
it happened.
There was also the thing where old PlayStation games, and not every one of them, and I couldn't tell you which ones did this, but some of them you could put in a CD player and it would play the soundtrack.
Oh yeah, I think Tekken 3 was one of them. Yeah,
it was a great way to ruin your copy of Tekken 3.
It might not have been. I think if I remember correctly, there was a trick you could use to play it on the PlayStation as well, like the soundtrack. I think you had to turn it on with the disc lid open and then put the game in, and then it would read it as a music disc or something like
the way you read the disc.
Yeah.
Oh god, fucking old consoles, and they're like weird. Like I remember when Xbox 360, when they first did Xbox Live, and they tried to introduce like the soundtrack mode where you could play music.
Regular Xbox.
Yeah, regular Xbox did that too. Yeah, but you had to like open the menu, and like back in the day, like consoles just started playing the game. There was no fucking menu. You had to like do special things just to get the menu to pop up.
Right.
You had to plug it in and put the game in and have the menu open, and also like choose to play this music, and it would play the music at the same time as the game. It was such that's always what I love explaining to, like, not that I'm old, but explaining to younger people, like, you have no idea how hard it was to play. If you wanted to listen to a podcast, like you wanted to listen to music and play a game at the same time, that was work.
I used to like that though. I used to think that was a lot of fun to like make my own little gaming soundtracks, and like it was really good for wrestling games, especially because they would let you put the games as your entrance themes and stuff like that. It was great. I used to love that.
Can you tell? We don't like this game. We spend over 20 minutes talking about not this game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm doing everything in my power to avoid it at this point, but
it's fair. This is I like I said, when I picked this game, I was like, I want to talk about it, but it's such a specific thing to want to talk about because it's not good. I'll be the first to admit it's not good. It has not aged well at all.
No,
but there's something interesting there because no GTA game has aged well. If you go back and play any GTA, when they come out, it's like, this is amazing. Like, this is the next generation of game. When GTA 4 came out, I lost my mind. I was like, this is the best thing I have ever played. Nico, you can change his outfits. Like, you can get it. Like, the cars are so cool. If you go back and play GTA 4 now, that game is not an old game. I mean, it's old, but it's not like an old game. Now is the worst time to get into it, Mike. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine. I won't ever happen because of the show, but I really need to.
If you play it, it feels like you're playing a game underwater.
Right. Yeah. GTA 4, I remember like when that came out, they had people calling radio stations like on its release, like complaining like, oh my God, this is going to traumatize so many children because like I ran over a guy and like the tires left blood behind and all this stuff. And like you go back and look at it now, it's like that shit's so fucking mundane, but whatever.
Being so impressed that if you stand on a curb, Nico will have one foot up on the curb and the other foot on the ground. It's like, this is the best thing anyone's ever done.
Oh my God, collision detection.
All right,
we're in the future.
One thing about this game that we were kind of mentioning on, I thought we were heading to, is there's no map for this game at all. You can't press select. There is nothing. And this game is broken up, as we had mentioned, to 3 areas, but they're not 3 connected areas like in your normal Grand Theft Auto. It's just 3 areas, period. As we were saying before, you can get lost. You can drive down an alley, go, oh shit, there's nowhere to go. Like I was running around in the redneck village, and I would find all these roads would lead to dead ends. I was getting so pissed off that after a while, I actually learned this game. Like I could drive around with no map and still know how to get where I was going.
Yeah, that's the only way to do it. And like,
it's shitty as hell.
Yeah, if you want to find a save point, you have to find a church.
There's a trick to finding those. You know?
Yeah. Oh, is there? Okay. Tell me about it.
Okay, if you're driving around, you'll see TV news van. They have a little radar on the van. If you get inside one of those, the radar will point you to the save point. Nowhere does the game tell you that. I had to look online after I kind of was worried trying to turn off my Game Shark sheets. And you have to get inside the van, drive the van around, and the radar will point you to the one and only.
Oh my God!
Hotel so you can save the game.
That is how you save in this game. Jesus Christ! I would hate this fucking.
Here's the worst part. It costs $50,000.
I would hate this game if I had to play it back in the day. Oh my God!
It was. I played this game and I thought this is like crazy. This is like amazing how big this world feels. And then going back and playing, like, how did I get through this? How did I manage to sit down and play this game as a kid and beat it?
You can beat each area just by bullshitting. Because when you get arrested or you go to get wasted, you don't lose money like in your normal GTA. You just lose a life if you die, which I don't know how to get more lives in this game. But it's one of those things where you can just, all you have to do is get in the first area. I think you need $1 million.
I don't know if you can.
Okay.
I think it might be permanent. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It's fucking like I lost lives and I'm like, wait a second, this is shitty.
Yeah, well, the first time I got a game over, I was like, there's game overs in this game? I didn't even know that. Never played it long enough.
So stupid. It's by far one of the worst games that we played on the show.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you were saying, like, how did I get through this when I was a kid? I think it gets so far on its I was, but he wasn't. I'm sure he was. I'm going to assume he wasn't. And honestly, when we played it, and when we played it, and the time I played it, we never beat it. We never did any missions. All we do is like, okay, we have all the guns and we have level select turned on. So go wherever you want and just cause as much chaos for a while until you get arrested and then you pass the controller. That's how we played GTA 2.
You don't need to do any missions.
Yeah, the game. Yeah, you don't. They're not good.
It's just like there's missions and side missions, and they all really just exist as a way of like giving you reasons to kill certain people as opposed to just killing willy-nilly.
Yeah,
it's really all they are.
But the game gets by, and at the time, because like there was nothing else like it at the time. There wasn't like this like, you know, grandiose like crime simulator. Not that I'm saying this is grandiose or anything. It's you know, extremely scaled back because the scope that they had in mind was like not really realized until GTA 3. Like that's when they were like, okay, all these ideas that we've been like putting forth, this game's almost like a weird proof of concept of some sort. Like they have all the ideas here, it's just they don't have a way to execute on it. And then 3 comes out and they're like, okay, we have the technology, we can rebuild this game apparently. And that's when the series really took off. But like it got by so far on that concept because it was so stupid to just like I said, that's how me and my friends played it. We'd just go on these dumb little rampages, and that was really entertaining to us. Now,
well, I'd like to point.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'd like to point out that there was something that this game did that was so ahead of its time, and you're not even going to realize that it did it because it was like almost like an underground feature that wasn't really advertised for whatever reason. The PC GTA 2 had multiplayer.
Oh, really?
What?
Yeah,
I believe it.
You could play with up to 6 people.
Oh, okay.
Via the internet.
Oh my God!
Oh no!
We truly were living in the future. My God!
You could click on someone's IP and you would jump into the game, and like it wasn't quite
terrorize them.
It wasn't quite multiplayer. I think you could just like give them hints and stuff. It was a weird way of doing it. Like a couple people could play together, but it was like you were all just on the same map. It was such a weird like experimental feature.
Interesting.
It's so odd. So this is when people say, "Oh, this game was shit." I needed to bring up that this game had multiplayer, which did not show up again. Technically, it was in San Andreas, but it wasn't really in San Andreas.
I'm curious if you could still play the multiplayer. I see it on Steam. I have
no idea because it was based off internet, which at the time was like fucking dial-up.
Yeah, dial-up. Yeah,
it was like we were just getting to like the dial-up stage.
Somebody would probably have to go in and make a new like server or something for that. You never know. I mean, it might be baked into Steam stuff. I really highly doubt that's there anymore.
You could play with internet. You could play over LAN, or you could play over direct modem connection.
LAN, you might be able to pull off if you can actually get people together in enough computers or whatever. God help you if you
people who want to play the actual game.
Yeah, if you can find 6 people interested enough to play GTA 2 multiplayer, fucking, I don't know what you're doing, but
hey, Stu,
God bless you.
3 suckers to play this game.
Yeah, I did.
I mean,
What I wonder is, I wonder if you could use something like Hamachi or like a VPN and trick your computer into joining someone's like, because that's what Hamachi essentially does. Is like, if anyone hasn't heard, Hamachi is a program that allows you to join someone else's LAN.
Yeah,
I think a lot of VPNs you can do it with now, but I wonder if you could like play this online with people in 2020.
Well, I know you can kind of do that with Resident Evil Outbreak by changing some things in the files and then using some server they have.
Hey,
I'm sure there's a way to do it.
Why would you want to do that with either of those games, though? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Some asshole put it on the list. That's why.
It would be so much work just to play GTA 2.
Oh, man.
But yeah, like you could have 6 people all like, getting into cars and like slamming into each other. And it actually did have a couple multiplayer modes in addition to that. It had a deathmatch mode, a team deathmatch mode, and a racing mode.
Wow.
So for whatever reason, people don't talk about that. But GTA was the first GTA. GTA 2 was the first GTA to do like online racing.
Yeah, I never even knew that. That's really interesting. Wow, that's really impressive, actually.
Just driving in this game is not fun, really. Like you get some cars that we were saying they go so fast, you just run right into a wall.
Yeah, you don't have a wide enough field of view to actually drive ever. And like the only way that I got around, like
it's
if I was in a mission, was like I was like, you know what? I have to drive and obey the laws of traffic.
Yeah,
which is very fun.
It's always fun in a GTA game. Is okay. Like GTA 5 has a couple missions like that where it's like it's got some mechanics where if you run a red light, sometimes you'll get a star, or like if you go through a toll booth and don't pay, you'll get like 2 stars, and it's like that's impressive, but also really fucking annoying. I'm not playing Grand Theft Auto to obey the law.
Right. I sometimes think it's fun from a role-playing aspect to do that, but only sometimes, like in just living out some dumb, like, I don't know why you'd want to do that. You play this game as some sort of weird power fantasy, and I'm like, oh, stop at the red lights, because like, oh, no, hit another guy. I think the only last thing I personally want to touch on is the load screens, because they're hilarious to me. So they all involve the opening movie. The load screens I have listed here include crime monk Billy Corgan.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep. We have Mob Man with Marilyn Monroe cosplayer.
Yeah. Ambiguously racial Mob Man.
Yes.
He's like tannish with bright pink glasses. Who are you?
Exactly. We have probably the dev team with guns in sweatsuits. I have written here blurry close-up of a man's face and a crime river. Blurry close-up of a man's face and a crime river is pretty good. I have part of a man's lower back with part of a tattoo. Like it's just like his lower back and part of a tattoo. It's not even like this is a very clear tattoo and a good image to put as a load screen. It's just, hey, look at this guy's lower back. It's very lower backy. I'm like, yep, that sure is a lower back.
Somebody somewhere in our studio was like, oh, they're gonna love this.
Was there any that I missed? Because those were the ones that I seen in the time that I spent with the game.
I mainly got fat bald dude with pink glasses and Marilyn Monroe, and it's not even like an actress like that or like a model that looks like Marilyn Monroe. I'm pretty sure it's just like I think they just took like some pop culture image and put it back there. I don't know if that's anybody they hired for that. It looks like it's just clipped out of another picture.
Yeah, like I said, it's a very bad Marilyn Monroe cosplayer. Like she goes to local hospitals and makes old people feel better about their lives, I guess. I don't know.
Makes people with dementia think that it's 1940.
Yeah, exactly.
Not 1940, but 1970.
Marilyn,
kind of
happy birthday, Mr. President. Bitch, my family's here.
Yeah, it's I'm going to talk about this in Shelf Box, but this game has like
we're getting close.
I'll just say
not that much more to say about this shit.
Yeah, there really is.
Shelf Box. There's just
Did we even say anything at all?
Not much. I mainly wanted to talk about this game because it's so odd. It's such a strange installment in this series. Between GTA 1 was pretty praised, not like widely praised. It wasn't like it wouldn't be on anyone's best game ever list.
It was like a mediocre game to a lot of people. It was praised for like how original of a concept it was, but I remember in my memory banks it got like, like 7s and stuff like that.
Yeah, high 6s, low 7s. Yeah,
exactly.
Not anything crazy good, but everyone was like, this is a serviceable game. You can play this.
This game was widely the same way, pretty much.
And it's interesting to go back to those, I think, and look at them and say, like, okay, like, where did what we have now come from?
Yeah,
GTA now is unrecognizable. GTA 5 now is unrecognizable to GTA 5 when it released.
It's mind-blowing to think a $1 billion franchise came from this. $1 billion franchise.
A franchise that is unrecognizable to when it started.
It's the
one game started.
It's the top-selling game, like, on Steam. Well, like, it's one of the top-selling games of all time, if not the top-selling game of all time. Like, it's insane. Like, it's always on the Steam top-selling list. Like, still, people just keep buying the fucking game.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it. But it's amazing that it spawned from this. Like, this is where it came from.
There are almost definitely kids that are playing GTA 5 now. Not realizing that when it came out, there wasn't a first-person mode in it.
Yeah.
This series is so. It's like GTA is such an iconic series because all the games are groundbreaking now in like crazy ways, and Rockstar's gotten a little flack recently, which I kind of agree with. Like their essential mechanic system has not changed in upwards of 10 years.
I'm on that train of judgment for them. They need to stop with the lock-on shit and actually develop a shooting system that's actually up to fucking date. Like I'm
desperately needs to be revamped. Like even Red Dead is like, okay, this is like Red Dead 2 is fun, but it's not. It's kind of like a bounty of riches thing where. Like Red Dead 2 is fine, but it's not groundbreaking, and that's kind of what we've come to expect from you.
It is in some ways. Like technologically, it is an insanely advanced game and like a really, achievement. It really is.
It's like a beautiful game.
Absolutely.
It's the amount of the world that's just active in that game at any given time is insane.
I wholeheartedly agree. Yeah.
But it's
like I don't like that game. Like I'll be the first to tell you.
It's fine. Like it's just a fine game. It's not great. It's not. It's like on the engine side. That's where all of the innovation went. Yeah. It's like that's good, but you need to revamp your mechanics. You need to revamp your basic game structure. Needs to change at this point. They need to get out of the lock-on mechanics. This is modern day GTA stuff. You're welcome, everybody. But they need to get out of the lock-on mechanics, actually update what they're doing and update their basic mission structures of like, okay, go here, shoot this person, come back.
Yeah.
Let me do more in this world that you've built.
I mean, the game is very immersive, like if you let it be, and I really like that. But there are times where it's immersive to a fault because you have video game control over things. And like I will never forget the time when I quit playing that game was I got out of a thing I can't remember. I was buying a horse or something dumb, and I got out of the thing, and immediately like the game made me trample a dude. It wasn't even my fault, and all of a sudden the town is hunting me. I was like, fuck this, I'm done. This is not okay. Like you gotta give me a little bit of leeway here. It's one thing if I'm like running full speed and trying to trample a dude, and then I trample a dude, and then like and you go full immersive that way. That's cool. But like I was just accidentally bumping into people with a horse, and it's like, oh my god, he hit him with a horse. Fucking kill him.
Nakey Jakey on YouTube has a whole video. I think it's like a half-hour video, but it's a very good like deep dive into why Rockstar needs to update their games.
Yeah.
And it's like he goes into this whole rant about how, not even a rant because that's not his style. He just goes into this whole story of like, okay, like I did a mission where somebody needed a harmonica. And so they wanted me to go get like the harmonica item from this person. But while I was on the way there, I went by a guy's house and the man was playing a harmonica. So I shot him to take his harmonica, but the game didn't recognize that as a usable item. It was just a thing in the game. It's like that's small stuff like that needs to change.
Yeah, you'll always run into weird stuff like that in a game with a scale like that. And I always give them a lot of credit for their cinematics. I don't think GTA 5 has like the best writing in the world. I think it's like a really generic crime story at its core.
Yeah,
but like,
it's like all the tropes that people love thrown into one massive story.
Yeah, exactly. I think Red Dead has a interesting story from what I played and what I've heard about it. It definitely goes some places that I'd like to go back to that game just to and I would just beeline through the story and not give a shit because that's how I would have to do it to see it. And I give them a lot of credit for that. They are well known for making, movie-like cinematic experiences, and God bless them for that.
They're just they're kind of out of things to like Vice City is in my mind, Vice City is still like a fantastically perfect game of this is just like a huge like look back and send up of like 80s insanity.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Exactly.
But we need more now.
Yeah, it's a big Vice City is really cool, and that's still probably my favorite GTA game of all time.
I think it's most people's.
It might be. I'm not sure. I've heard people. Yeah, I love that game. Music's great.
The fact that at some point you have a Hawaiian shirt on and you're using a katana to kill people, like that.
I was walking around at work and they played one of the songs from Vice City. I'm like, man, I really want to play Vice City. Then I went home and played this shit, and I'm like, I just want to play Vice City still.
I'm thinking about getting into cosplay. I've got like some stuff coming in of like a character I want to do, but I've always wanted to do cosplay. I
gotta stop you. Why don't you just cosplay someone from Stalker? It'll keep you safe, and it will be it'll work fit perfectly. They won't even know you're cosplaying.
Yeah, because I don't want to be the guy who owns a gas mask. Because the guy who owns a gas mask is always a little weak, like a little off. That's
as long as you don't go into a theater with a gas mask and say you're the Joker, it'll be okay.
Oh God, so fucking white people need to stop.
Yeah. Speaking of GTA 2,
all white people.
A couple things I want to say still before we wrap this up. Like, one, you don't even have to do the missions. Each area has the goal of how much money you have to make. You can just get a tank. Every area has a tank and just drive around and blow up things. You'll just keep getting money and you'll finish the game that way. I cheated because I screwed myself and couldn't do any more missions. I needed about 3 million. And I'm like, I am not driving around for 4 hours with a tank. I already hate this game. I just said, fuck it, max money. You finished. So I went, and then each time you finish a district, you have to drive to a hotel where you save, walk inside, and then it tells you, do you want to go to the next area? And a little title screen comes up like you're playing an arcade game. It's really strange.
Which difficulty setting did you play on? Because there's only 2, and they're not really difficulty settings. They're the 2 like quote unquote difficulty settings in the game are the 2 modes. You can play during noon or you can play during dusk, and it just changes the lighting settings.
Oh wow, that's insane. What innovation. I think you did a lot more work than you should have, because all I did was put in the level select cheat and just run around for about 3 hours and go, yep, I got it. And that was what I did in each area. I was like, I get it, thanks.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, we talked about it Friday, and Mike was like, I think I can beat the game, and Stefan was like, I don't know if I can beat them. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, the story, there's no story. The end of the game is just like, congratulations on completing all the missions. Like, it's not, there's no story involved. You don't accomplish anything, really. No, it's just a game you put in and drive around and run people over.
Yeah, basically.
Yep. Mindless.
I have questions.
Yeah.
By the way, if you guys are ready for questions, comments, and memories.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Nope.
I only posted in 2 groups.
No questions.
Because of the T virus, so I just wasn't posting very much.
The T virus.
Yeah.
What about the C virus? No. The chrysalid virus from Resident Evil 6. Everybody forgets about that one. See, yeah.
See, playing 6.
That's the one that makes Helena naked, right?
Yes.
That's the only part I remember of that.
It wasn't Helena, it was her sister. I've been watching somebody play through it. God, that game is trash.
It's Helena's sister / twin / clone. It's a very confusing story.
Wait, who said? Did you say it was a good game?
I remember liking it.
I will defend it as
I haven't
really
played it since release. But maybe I remember wrong.
I'll be the one person to defend it. I like Resident Evil 6 as a co-op game. It's not as good as Resident Evil 5 as a co-op game,
right?
But it's a good co-op game.
Oh God, I really thought I knew you guys. What happened here?
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I was like, man, I'm really happy to be on this show, and then I'm like, oh man, what have I got myself into?
And may I add that they do a completely different tone in each of the campaigns that matches their characters' like styles up to that point,
and tells the most disjointed story in the history of Resident Evil. Yeah,
yes, it's awful.
Yeah.
I can't really.
I mean, that's okay. I can't defend any Resident Evil story. After like 3, everything's fucking downhill. Everything's fucking ridiculous and off the rails. It's fine. But like Resident Evil 6 as a self-contained thing is so fucking ridiculous and terrible. Like going back and watching it, you're like, if you start asking questions while you're playing it, and I'm not playing it. I'm watching somebody else playing it. And I'm just like, okay, if you didn't know this because you started on this campaign, you would have no idea why this conversation is happening. You have zero fucking context for so much that's going on. It's like the developers all like got in separate rooms and were like, we're gonna make this campaign, we got this engine to work with, okay, great, and they didn't tell each other about the story, and then at the end they're like, well, I guess we'll tie them together this way. Fuck, I don't know.
Yeah, to go back and listen to our Resident Evil games playthroughs and our Degeneration episode where we go on massive rants about how everybody in Resident Evil is a moron except for like Rebecca Chambers, and that's why she's not allowed to be in anymore.
And also, none of them ever have sex ever. That's gross. What are you talking about? Sex? That's gross. Shut up.
I'm trying to think if Wesker has a son, but
he does have a son, but that's the most mind-blowing thing in the world. But I think that's a test tube baby. It's never said who his mom is.
So it's his son is also like 30, and it takes place like 10 years after Resident Evil 1 or something.
Test tube baby, it's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of Grand Theft Auto 2, I have a couple things I want to finish up on.
Actually, before you get into the question, I did want to bring something up.
Yes.
Before you get into the questions, because I was thinking about, I don't know why I didn't say this earlier. I didn't think about it, but as we said, it's like this game is kind of post-apocalyptic, kind of like weirdly dystopian, but it doesn't say it. There's actually a weird thing that happens in this game. Did anyone notice that the cars were a little strange looking?
Oh, yeah.
I noticed the giant hot dog one.
There's the giant hot dog one. A lot of the cars are actually like a lot of the car models they use. They picked older cars. Like I think they had a cutoff of like 1960. I want to say.
I want to say it's 50s, but yeah,
they didn't use any car made after 1950, and they retrofitted them to make them look like they belonged in this universe. So it almost has like a weird Fallout thing going on.
They're probably also just stealing assets from GTA London 1969 or something too. They're just like, fuck it, we'll just use this. It's fine.
It's a very strange thing though when you notice like at some point you see like Volkswagen Beetles going around, not like new ones, like old Volkswagen Beetles. You're like, what year is this supposed to be? And it's the future.
The future of 2013, of 7 years ago.
There's actually some theories that, and this isn't like some random theory. Like this is just like some theories that I think are somewhat supported by things the developers said the game is actually supposed to take place in like 2099. 2999. I mean,
I like to think it's based in 2013, and it's based after in 2005 when the Transformers movie happened. So like. You know, like we had the Battle of the Autobots. The Autobots then go back to Cybertron or something. You know, we'll write that in somehow. And then this is the planet we're left with is GTA 2. And everything's bad until Megatron comes back and saves us all, or however that works. I don't know.
I like the idea of it taking place in 2013, but the only movie that was ever released in that timeline was the Transformers movie, and people saw it and freaked out and destroyed their like new cars because they thought it was going to take over the world.
Okay. I like that too. We talking the Michael Bay live action ones? Not that one. Right?
Yeah, like original like Shia LaBeouf Transformers live action. And they saw that movie and they were like, "Oh my god, our cars can turn into robots! Destroy them all."
Either that, or they're like, "Oh my god, is this the only movie that's going to come out now? We have to riot immediately. This cannot be. This cannot stand. We must destroy everything in the world." That's how the apocalypse happened. I just made it up. It's fine.
All right,
in a world, if the universe is infinite, then that universe does exist out there somewhere.
Before we get into questions, one, we didn't mention the third area. The two newer gangs are the Russian Mafia and the Hare Krishna, which are like
I mentioned the Krishna
cultists a little bit, but there's a mission where you go to the church and you just gun them down.
Yeah,
you just gun them all down. And I had the max reputation sheet on, so the mission never ended. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? I've been killing these people for 5 minutes, and I realized I turned off the cheat, and then it didn't take long. But I'm like, they just keep respawning. I just kept running around shooting everybody. So, yeah, don't do that. Yeah. And other thing I want to mention
is that the Hare Krishnas in this game are like super Jesus freaks.
Yep.
But Hare Krishnas are Hindu. So I don't know. It's such a weird.
Don't ask questions. You're asking all the wrong questions.
Well, I like that it's like a cult. It's like a weird. It's like what's the cult in GTA 5 that is? There's like a Scientology cult in GTA 5 that you like.
I know what you're talking about.
There's scientists in this game.
The scientists.
And they're all clones.
Go
kill those clones.
Scientology.
Another thing I want to say.
Epsilon.
While you're still one thing I want to quickly get out is that opening cutscene that we talked about, you can download it apparently from the Rockstar website. It's called GTA 2, the movie.
Yes.
And it is Claude, the guy from 3, but he gets murdered in this movie. So I don't know how the hell he's in 3, but I guess 3 takes place before. I don't fucking, that makes no fucking sense.
It's kind of like the MCU, where when 3 started, they called it 3 became the 3D universe. And then I don't know if it was 4 or 5 that, or maybe it was one of like the episode games where they kind of revamped it again, and now it's called the HD universe, which isn't really. It's like they have like 3 different timelines of these games. There's the original universe, the 3D universe with like GTA 3, Vice City is in there. I think San Andreas is in there, and then at some point it switches to the HD universe, which you have to imagine that as like a completely different world.
Yeah,
there's references, but it's a different world.
Screw this game.
They'll never bring back Vice City because they're gonna. I have this feeling GTA is gonna become like a big multiplayer thing. They got.
I mean, it is now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I think that they're gonna go all in on it. I don't know if they're even gonna bother with a story mode going forward. I don't know. Because
I hope
recent events at Rockstar, like Dan Houser left. He was the guy behind a lot of the stories in those games, and I'm not saying they're like genius writing or anything, but Forrest was pretty good.
It might be good.
He's gone.
It might force them to revamp it. It might force them to do something new, and I'm okay with changing it. I think I would be upset if the story was gone, but I will be honest. Upset.
If they got rid of like the single player mode and just made it a multiplayer thing, I'm out. I wouldn't play it anymore. Yeah, I wouldn't. Why bother? That's. I mean, it's fine for everybody that likes that. Great, awesome, do your thing. But I'd be like, yeah, no, this is not for me anymore. Godspeed to all you guys that like that.
I could see them splitting and being like, we're gonna like. Because Rockstar is basically every division of Rockstar is just like different studios that all have the Rockstar name on them. It's like Rockstar North, Rockstar South, Rockstar East. I could see them splitting off and saying like, okay, this is like the GTA story game, and this is like we're just going to keep working on GTA Online, and that's going to be a separate game entirely.
It could be. I hope you're right. I hope they do split it in some way. That'd be nice. I'd be okay with that.
At some point, story will come back in games. It'll be big again, and I mean, story. A lot of single player games have come out lately, so
it already did. Like EA kind of realized that recently with a lot of their stuff. Anyway, let's get to questions. I apologize.
All right, thank you.
Before we start talking about the oversaturation.
I mean, I can go on, but I won't. I'll be nice. Let's get to the questions.
I'd like to take this opportunity to change it into why Titanfall 2 got fucked.
Let's talk question. Yeah. First memory from Daniel Melman said, played this when Rockstar released it as freeware. It was very frustrating. It's still very frustrating, sir.
It's not very good.
From Carl Martinez, I love this game. The burp fart button never gets old. What game did you play? I mean, the burp fart button's in this game, but
I mean, it's in every game. What I already said. What game wouldn't have that now? I mean, this was
other comment.
Revolution.
It's like we got this episode.
The kill frenzies, the original car collection, side missions, the way respect worked, so much cool stuff. Running down 5 Elvis impersonators and it says Elvis has left the building. They push that top-down view to the limit with this game. I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, there are cool stuff to it, but
I would like to say that this person probably has not played this recently. This game was good when you played it then. Let that memory be it. Don't go back. Don't do that.
Like we found out with a few games on the show.
Yeah,
like Operation Raccoon City. From Nathaniel Van said, I had this on PC. I loved it, but I didn't understand how it worked, so I just killed everyone all the time and just dumped hours into doing that. Well, hey, you can beat the game just doing that.
You played the game correctly.
Thing. Yeah, you did the right thing.
They're hard. They're not fun.
There's still like the frenzy modes in this game too that have existed in every GTA. Of like,
they're hard though.
They're very hard.
Frenzy.
They're harder in this than I think they are in any other GTA, with the exception of maybe some in GTA 3 that are just nearly impossible.
Yeah, we were talking about bad shooting mechanics in Rockstar games. Fuck, GTA 2 revolutionized that shit.
Yeah, it's fucking rough.
All right, a couple more from Jason Heiser. Said the Christian radio station on this one, which we mentioned earlier, had a song with the lyrics, Jesus, my savior, my favorite flavor. And I think about it all the time. It's one of the best Christian song parodies I've ever heard.
A man after my own heart. Yes. It's a great song, and I totally agree with you. It's the only reason I was like, I remember that song, and I would like to play this game again. And I heard that song, I was like, okay, this game's awful. Basically how that went down.
From Vincent Sprague said, I still remember having a blast with a lightning gun and flamethrower, and the driving mechanic were so much fun. I would cause roadblocks at intersections, and then when it full-on cars blow up one and watch the entire screen erupt in flames. I always wish they did a 3D version. I always wish they did a 3D version of GTA 2, but we eventually got Saints Row 3, so I'll have to do.
Okay. Saints Row 3 is a very good game.
I'm glad that people have fond memories of this game. I mean, I will never have a fond memory.
I have fond memories of this game. It's going back to it's impossible. You can't do it. Like with every innovation.
I thought weed takes away memories when you're doing something.
It does, but like, yeah, I still remember playing it. Like, I remembered that song. I remembered Dean Franz, and that was about it. And I remembered like how to play it. Like, I immediately jumped in and remembered how to play it. I get people's fond memories of it. Just don't go back. Whatever you do, just keep those memories. Do not go back to the state.
I can't wait for Mike to make me go last in Shelver Box, so I have to defend myself.
That might happen. For Alan Tracy, GTA 2 was the first one I ever played. Picked it up at Media Play for PS1 on the cheap. I don't even know what Media Play is. I still go back and play it sometimes. Okay. I had a steering wheel for my PlayStation that I bought for it. Yes. It was somehow still fun, even with that overhead view. I enjoyed Chinatown Wars quite a bit. I do want to try that one.
Oh, you are ahead of your time.
I want to try it less now after this game.
There was a steering wheel for this game?
Yeah, it was awful.
There was.
It was awful, but you had a steering wheel, so you felt like a badass.
I guess.
From Justin Berger said, my intro to the series. I see it every weekend renting games, but never went through with renting it. I read the back, talked myself out of it. Then one day I rented it, forever changing my gaming lifestyle. So fun. I never did missions as a teen, just wrecked habit, listen to the radio. Unending fun for a top-down game. That's the right way to play this game. You just bum around and make money, and you'll beat the game anyway.
Yeah, that's exactly how I did play this game. Because at first I was like, oh, I'll do the missions because I'm going on the show. And then I very quickly was like, these missions are awful, and I'm not doing that. I'm just
enough money.
Yeah,
exactly. Some missions give you 30,000. You need 50,000 to save your game. It's like, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's rough. I mean, I basically when I did the same thing in GTA 3, where like I don't really care about the story right now. I just I would go to one spot and I'd be like, let's see how many stars I can get and how long I can maintain that.
Yeah. So that would actually be interesting if they implemented that in new GTA games. Like, if you don't want to play the story, just wreak havoc. And as soon as you get enough money, you can go to the next part.
Like, oh God, what was that? There was a skating game. It wasn't Pro Skater, I don't think, that has like the Meat Carnival mode where it's just cause as much damage to your body as possible.
Sounds familiar.
I know what you're talking about.
I almost want to say it's Skate or Die, but I don't think that's right.
Not Skate or Die. That's NES.
No, that's NES. Fuck, man.
It's called Hall of Meat was the game mode, I think.
You can Google it. I'll talk if you want to Google.
Yes, it was in. I think it was in Skate. Okay, yeah, it was in Skate. It was introduced in Skate 2. It was called Hall of Meat, where you're just supposed to you would battle with friends to see who could get the most damage points on your body. Like you'd break your spine, and that was a shitload of points. That would be great in GTA, just a separate mode where it's okay, you're gonna fight with your friends to see who can cause the most destruction to city property as fast as possible,
or themselves. Yeah, that mode sounds like fucking Saints Row, where you have insurance fraud and you just throw yourself in front of cars, and it's just extreme ragdoll physics into other cars to see how much harm you can cause yourself. It's fun the first time, and then you're like, okay, this is stupid.
Yeah, they do tiny things in GTA Online like that, where a little challenge will pop up, and it's all right, for the next 5 minutes, the challenge for everybody in the server is to fall from the greatest height without a parachute and survive. Small challenges like that, where it's okay, this is the new game for the next 5 minutes. We got to go find a plane and jump out into the ocean and hope we don't hit a rock or hope we don't hit the water too hard.
Right.
All right, last question to read from Marcheski. I pronounced that wrong. Still my actual favorite of the series. I love the silliness and the humor, and the faction system is amazing. Faction system is cool. Humor is funny.
No, it's not. It's not.
No. I almost forgot. I do want to mention this. There are times in this game where you have to platform in a top-down game where you have to climb up blocks, run up little ramps, and jump across blocks. And it is the worst shit
It's
ever.
quite bad. It's not good at all. Yeah.
It's so
not ideal.
I almost forgot to mention that. Oh, and you can jump over cars too, which is really humorous when somebody you're trying to run over jumps over your car and they go up. Like, I'm like, what the hell?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think we should go on
over your car.
Shelf or box because I want to stop this game.
Okay.
Stefan, why don't you go first?
All right. As soon as I started playing this game, I felt like I heard a voice in my head say "smack my bitch up" because it was just very much of that time.
That's a perfect description of this game. Yes. This is the game made by Prodigy the band. Yes.
Exactly. Thank you. This is like,
oh my God,
everything from the 90s. Well, at least I didn't say Keith Sweat's Nobody, Mike.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, this is everything from the 90s, like down to just the way the thinking was into building this game. I don't want to be mean to this because I know it's Stu's pick. I don't want to be mean.
90s thinking, that's already the greatest insult you could ever give.
Yeah.
This game was made with a 90s mindset. It's like, fuck.
Oh, man.
It's a fire starter, all right. I'll tell you that one.
Like, somebody who worked on this game, their favorite band was Vanilla Ice. That's what this game is.
and not Ice Ice Baby Vanilla Ice. He came back as a rock guy, as a rap rock guy. That Vanilla Ice.
The other version, the later version of Vanilla.
Yes,
Vanilla Rock.
Like the kind of fan who says like Ice Ice Baby is a better song than Under Pressure, and you're like, what? Ew, like, ew, you're a gross person.
Yeah, but
I don't want to say something right now.
There are still things to like about this game. I mean, it actually, to me, it doesn't look that bad. I kind of like how the 3D textures look when you're driving around and everything, and you know, like your gang members following around with you and killing other gang members, like stuff like that still looks kind of cool, I guess. But overall, I just had no fun with this game. I'm so sorry, Stu, but
no, it's okay. I expected no one to enjoy this but me, and the reason for it will be evident.
Yeah, but it was an interesting experience. So I'm kind of glad it was on the show because I actually didn't get a chance to play this as a kid. So it was interesting to play it and just kind of see what it was about. But yeah, it's not going on my shelf. This is going in the box and
that box.
The trash fire. Yeah. And yeah, that's it.
Okay. That's about what I expected. How about you, Justin?
Oh, well, I think this game is an interesting thing to go back to see how a billion-dollar franchise was birthed out of. How it came out of this, you'll never know. Like, it's unrecognizable from, like, if you go to 3, you're like, oh, I see where this came from. But you go to this and you're like, really? They got all that from this fucking shit? What the hell were we doing? It says a lot about this game that I think somewhere in my fucking whatever heap I have here, I have this game somewhere in a box, and it stayed in that box for a long time. I've never been tempted to get it out. I don't know.
But
even
you're
remember.
Less tempted now.
Yeah, I don't even remember how I obtained a copy. I may have been gifted it by someone. Somebody might have given it to me, and I just hung on to it because it wasn't worth anything. So I guess I'll keep it. Yeah, it's like I said, it's an interesting little time capsule thing to see that where all this came from. I think the music's okay. I like the radio stations. I think it has a interesting personality. I don't think it's funny. I think it's bad humor. I think the game looks bad. I think the graphics are bad. It's a style, I guess, but it's ugly. It's I think
ugly is a style.
Yeah, sure. Let's go with that. I think the map design is terrible. I got boxed in so many times. There are a lot of good ideas here that they just didn't have the budget, or they couldn't recognize that scope on an original PlayStation. There was no way they could do that. So it's a big achievement, I guess, for what they did. But no, this game is not on my shelf. No, not at all. I would put this in a box, and then I would possibly light that box on fire and cherish the memories. Thanks for the memories, even though they weren't so good. That's a Fall Out Boy song, and I don't know why I did that. And now I want to die. And so somebody else should tell me whether they want to put this in a box and light it on fire.
I'm also putting this in the box. I messaged after the first district. I messaged Stefan like, this game's kind of fun. Then I got to the second district. Then I'm like, no, this ain't so much fun because the missions and like some of the missions are really like quick. Like you go here, go steal this car, go kill somebody. Okay, mission's over. Then they're like, okay, we want you to go steal this flamethrower. All right, you get the flamethrower. All right, now I want you to go steal a fire truck. What? Okay, go steal a fire truck. Okay, I got the fire truck. All right, now I want you to go kill 30 people with the flamethrower. I'm like, what? Okay, and if you fail any of this, you got to start everything over for this mission. The whole mission fail. I'm like, what? Fuck this game.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept playing. Then I started using save station cheat code, so I didn't die. And the game got a little more, bearable. But it wasn't for me. I'm glad I played it because I've always been wanting to play it just because it's been on my list. I'm like, I should play this one day. I wish I could take that back now.
I think it's an interesting curiosity, and I think it's a good short-term thing to play. I think you can have fun with this for about an hour and then go, oh, that was neat, and then be done.
It reminded me of a game like I could see this being fun. You have a couple friends, you're just shooting the shit, talking, and you're just like, as you were saying, like just running around, and it would be fun like that. It's the kind of game, and you could progress that way. You could progress the entire game just by fucking around. You can also put cheat codes in the main game when you choose your name. We hadn't mentioned yet, but I didn't do any of that. But,
that's exactly how I played it as a youngster. So, makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I never want to play it again. Going in the box
me too.
And fuck this game.
Yeah.
How about you, Stu?
I want to hear Stu defend every part of this game right now.
So, let me defend myself because I knew going into this that people were not going to like it. And it's the same. I did the same thing that I did with like Penumbra, where I'm like, okay, this isn't a beloved game. I know that this isn't a series that this is a series that people love, but this isn't a game in that series that people are particularly attached to. Some people are, some people aren't. Very few people are, most people aren't, I should say. But yeah, I like video game histories. I like seeing where things came from and comparing that to where they ended up. I wanted us to play Penumbra because that's like the skeleton of what every horror game is based on now, basically.
You hate it.
And I hate it. This is really, I was hired by an outsider to ruin the podcast. And I'm just really bad at it.
Well, you did pick Fallout. You did pick Beautiful Joe. You picked all the worst games on this list for me.
Beautiful Joe. I will not take credit for Beautiful Joe. Sam picked Beautiful Joe.
Is not on the show.
He said, do you want to be on the episode? And he said, yeah. And I was like, do you have a game you want me to throw on for you? And he said, Beautiful Joe. And I'm like, got it. And then I never talked to him again. No, I'm just kidding.
Show since then.
He'll be on one soon if we're not all dead. But, I like going back and playing very early games if I haven't and seeing if like the ideas are there at that point. Mm-hmm. And I think ideas are here that have
absolutely.
Yeah, that were put into later GTA titles. And it's such a base level that it's amazing to me of just from like the cover art is a collage, but it's not a collage in the sense that like what GTA is kind of stylized and become with their illustrated covers that are like immediately recognizable now.
Right.
You would never recognize it before. You have like the radio stations that add a flavor to the world and add a charm to the world that while in this game weren't like the best, they did add something. They added a lot. Every time you get in a car and you hear like the person's radio click on and it's like a Japanese woman screaming or
taxi drivers must die.
Yeah, taxi drivers must die. Like, oh God, like the Russian mob just like playing like classic rock for some reason.
Why wouldn't they do that? That sounds right.
Yeah, it's such a weird. It's the skeleton of what GTA has become, and it's the beginning of a franchise that's become so beloved and ingrained in gaming now. So I like going back and seeing stuff like that. I did have fun with this game as a kid. As an adult, I enjoyed playing some of it. But yeah, I like I told Mike earlier, I was like, I beat this game as a kid, so I pretty much just jumped in and screwed around for a while, did some of the cheats, like got a tank and blew stuff up.
That's what I did too. Yeah, I played it so much when I was, a little older than you, but I did the exact same thing. I was like, I remember a lot of stuff. Like I was driving, I was like refreshing my memory as I was playing. I was like, okay, yeah, I remember a lot of this. Yeah. It doesn't hold up like I, would like it to, but
it doesn't hold up.
I'm the only dumb fuck that played the missions. Okay, I agree.
I think so.
This time, yes. But yeah, it's a time. It's like the definition of a time capsule. It's you put it in there and you take out and you're like, oh, I remember that. I remember that car, or like that weird like dusk effect where like that actually didn't like barely worked on the PlayStation. You can only do that on PC because it had so many different dynamic lighting effects in there, which was cool. You like think like things had like people had shadows. I remember thinking that was crazy.
Yeah.
It's a time capsule. It's something that is like peak 90s, and you go back and you say, okay, where are we now? Okay, I'm taking a rocket car to the moon. This is where we started. That's that is unbelievably interesting to me. So that's why I put it on the show. And I think that's why I'd put it on my shelf. But I would only put it on the shelf next to other copies of GTA to say, this is where it started, and this is where we are. Right. It's like, I would put all these copies of the game on a shelf like the Evolution of Man poster.
Right.
So you're saying we went from smack my bitch up to we started from the bottom, now we're here?
Exactly.
Okay.
Now my whole team's fucking here.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we started with Prodigy, and like now GTA is like, we got Tyler the Creator to make a song just for the game. You're like, what the fuck? Okay.
Yeah.
The disparity is incredible and insane. I like that history. I get that most people don't. I do. I would never recommend anyone play this game, but it's interesting to look at.
I think it's almost impossible to recommend somebody go back and play, but I absolutely understand your point. Yeah, as a time capsule thing and as a show of the evolution of this series, it's incredible the roots that it came from. So yeah, no, I think you're justified in that, honestly.
I agree.
Anyone does want to play it, you can.
I will
buy
take
it
everyone's apologies now.
You can buy it on Steam. I did not do that.
Yeah,
so.
I would. Yeah, no one should play this. Really, if you think you want to play it because you like GTA now, I wouldn't. Maybe like watch a video, listen to us talk about it.
Yeah, go check out a video of it and go, oh wow, that is so quaint.
Explore the game without actually buying the game.
It's not worth playing.
I kind of regret even saying like this game could be remade or remastered, because I don't know if it could be.
Well, did it come out on the Game Boy Advance though, or something?
It came out on the Game Boy Color.
Yeah.
That's not even. We're not even.
It's one
a
of those
completely different game.
Yeah, it's one of those things that like let's say they remade or remaster this. What do you remake or remaster other than the areas? Like, there's no real story. There's no real hook to it.
No,
other than
just a whole story. They would have to introduce an entire story.
Yeah, and I don't know if like even the basis is like interesting enough to do that. Like I don't see them ever going back to this. This is something they probably don't want people to know about. Was it Chinatown Wars that had a similar premise of there's gang factions and you have to work around the games to solve problems.
Yeah, that's what happened. Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the modern version of this.
Right.
So just play Chinatown Wars, because that's a good game.
Why did you pick that?
Or
because I wanted to punish you.
Yeah, or try out like
right. You started with Fallout. I should have known right then, right when we first played Fallout, that this dude, he's an asshole.
Every season, I have to pick good games and then throw in one really bad one to and justify it.
Oh, you like that? Wait, does he not like the original Fallout?
No, I loved the original Fallout. Nobody else did.
I think, the original Fallout's another one that's kind of like really hard to go back to, but had a lot of really interesting and cool ideas for like a role-playing game of its time. So, it's a good game. I'm not going to say it's perfect or that I want to go play it right now, but I think that's one that deserves a spot in history. It's certainly innovated a lot of stuff, and we would never have like the modern Fallouts without it. Same with this. We would never have the modern GTAs without this.
Yeah.
So,
which I do agree.
It also has a place in our history because it was like the third episode we played, and it pretty much set the stage of, oh yeah, you're going to be that guy on the show.
Hey, we all need that one guy. It's fine.
I'm like, hey, let's play some fun, interesting games. Like, let's play. Did I pick who picked Ghostbusters? That wasn't me.
That was Stefan.
That's Stefan. Yeah, I'm like, let's play Last Express. That's an interesting game from like the past.
No one's heard of.
Yeah.
It's a good game.
like Last Express and GTA 2, and then like I'm looking at the list that were coming up, and the games I picked are like, okay, that's fun. That's a fun game. People will enjoy that game. These are all great games, and then I gotta throw one wrench into the system.
Hey, you got to do it sometimes.
Yeah, we're playing Stalker, another Stalker game. That's a wrench, all right.
Yeah. Well, those are good games. It's just that you don't like horror games.
No, I don't. They keep coming on the show.
Yeah. Well, what's weird is sometimes you pick them, and me and Stefan.
I know.
Like, I did that.
Like parasitic. All right, I just time to start wrapping up.
Sticking the fork in sticking the fork in the socket. We're just watching. Like, he doesn't like this. Why does he do that? We know he knows this will hurt him.
I think Parasitic 2 is going to hurt me. I'm sure. And that is not an RPG. That's a straight up horror game.
That was a horror game that you picked that I love now, and I hadn't played before.
Yeah, Parasitic 1 is amazing.
That is a great game. Yes,
it's an interesting episode. Mm-hmm. That was like a horror game that I picked. That is now one of my favorite games.
Yeah,
also one of our top 10 episodes.
Yeah,
Justin, since you're our guest, you want to plug your podcast?
I also picked our number one episode that like everybody loved.
Nice.
I have to do like far extremes.
Nice. All right. Well, I guess I'll plug my podcast. In a world where Justin has other podcasts, one of them is the NWP Cast, a podcast where my host Julian Titus, he's the host. I'm just there. I just say words. He knows a lot of stuff, and I know some stuff, I guess. I'm Justin. He's Julian. He's not on the show right now. Anyway, that was a really bad plug, but that's how I decided to do it.
I love that.
But anyway, we're on that show. We talk about video games. We do a thing called like Stage Select, where we just like kind of pick random, like I almost want to say they're like little clickbaity type things where sometimes we ask for people for stories, and sometimes we ask people to be like, hey, what's your top 3 evil businesses in video games? Which I wish I kind of would have picked the Zaibatsu from this game, because I don't even know their motive at this point. I picked the Mishima Zaibatsu, just which is, just the better Zaibatsu. Did you know Zaibatsu roughly translates to financial group? Really? That's all it means. Yeah. Anyway, that's that podcast. And sometimes we do like a thing called Video Game Cage Match, where we just pit 2 random video games together and have people vote on who the winner is. And we have a lot of fun, and we talk about stuff we've been playing. So check that out sometime. And then I have a podcast with my sister that we just look up actual clickbait lists and just make fun of them. Like our most recent one, we talked about. Yeah, we talked about Gwen Stefani and things you didn't know about Gwen Stefani. Like, did you know she was dyslexic? Because I didn't. And I don't know how she spelled bananas that way. I mean, it sounds hard. It's SANANAB. It sounds like it would be hard to reverse that. I don't know.
That's a great concept for a podcast. I really like that.
That's what we do. And my sister's a lot funnier than I am. At least I think so. So yeah, check it out sometime. It's called Clickbait Update. And that's my plugs. Go listen to the things that I put on the internet, please. I thank you and love you with $1.
Listen to Julian so that listen to Julian and Justin so that we can have them on our show more often.
Hey, anytime you need me, I'm willing to play whatever awful crime game you put in front of me or whatever.
They play my bad games. I like them a lot.
I'll play. I love bad games. I have a whole segment on the show where sometimes I just play bad games, and just like I played a Steam porn game called H Rescue, which was basically just slide puzzles of naked anime girls, but they weren't actually naked. They was like censored. What's that?
That's just Newgrounds back in the early 2000s.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, I wouldn't know that by any way, but yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. I played it. But yeah, I play a lot of bad games and love bad games to a certain extent. They're fun to talk about. But anyway, go check that stuff out. I would appreciate it.
You reminded me that we're doing something like different next month, which I'm really excited for.
Is it porn games? If you ever play porn games, I'm your fucking guy. All right,
I have.
Dial me
not on the show. I once spent a lot of time playing a game called Exchange 2.
Okay,
I legitimately considered putting on Akiba's Trip because I legitimately think that's a great game.
Yo, I'm in. If you play that game, I'm in.
I love Akiba's Trip so much.
I think I should introduce what we're playing next week, because I'm the idiot that picked it for some reason.
Yeah, we're talking about like Mike picking horror games for some reason.
We're we're playing Resident Evil 3 for PlayStation 1 next week. It was my pick that I put on the show because Resident Evil 3 Remake is coming out here soon. And before we lose Stefan to Raccoon City for a couple weeks, because we're going to. Question. I mean, he's planning on being on the episode after that, but we'll see. He might be in unreachable. So
I've mentioned before that if it ever comes up an instance where it's like we can't do an episode 1 week for whatever reason, I have like backup plans of not necessarily good ideas, but just something to put out there. So if for whatever reason everyone gets sick, including me, and like we just can't do the show, I'll still go on and be like, all right, like let me try to cough my way through this idea I have.
Right on.
My backups, my mini plan Bs.
Well, Resident Evil 3 is a great game that is a good horror game. I'm afraid I'm a coward. I'm a huge coward like Mike is. So yeah, I totally get it. Those games don't scare me as much because they don't hold up. I'm terrible at tank controls unless they're GTA 2 apparently. That's just a thing.
God. I don't know how I feel about being the best GTA 2 player in the world.
Yeah, I know, right? I think I'll put you at number 1 and I'll be number 2 and well, I don't know. Mike played all the missions. Maybe he's number 1.
That's true. Mike might be number 1.
I played a lot of missions.
Yeah, he might be the best.
And cheat code. So
okay, I'm happy with number 3. That's fine.
I just want to play a game. I want to play through. Like I'm going to beat this game the correct way, and I realize, the correct way is just drive around in a circle and run over people, and I didn't do that. So
you can also just find a parking lot and do donuts, and the cops can never touch you, which was a hilarious thing that I found. Anyway, continue with your outro, sir.
Yes. So yeah, we're playing Resident Evil 3 Nemesis next week. I'm not looking forward to it. I've never played 3, so this will be me checking it off my list.
Yay.
It's worth noting that Stefan and I, who both have encyclopedic knowledges about Resident Evil, did not put Resident Evil 3 on our list. Mike put it on his.
Nice.
So that'll be an interesting episode.
You guys put Resident Evil Outbreak on the list.
Yeah.
One of you did.
I mean, I know a lot about Resident Evil, and I've never played those games. I don't play them. I just watch them. I love watching them.
Resident Evil Dead Aim on the list coming up here. We're playing fucking Dead Aim.
Oh, God, help you all.
So
what are you
excited for that one.
Oh, no.
It's one of the time capsules. Oh, my God. Like, that is...
Yeah.
We don't have gun cod.
You could have played Revelations. You could have played Revelation. Oh,
we'll get
God.
there. I'm trying to play the entire series.
Okay. All right.
Survivor's coming.
Oh, no.
Gaiden is coming.
No, stop. Don't. What are you doing to yourselves?
You guys do the podcast episodes. You should throw Resident Evil. Was it Idle Island? Is that what it's called, Stefan?
Oh, God. I don't remember. Yeah, I think
Resident Evil manga that takes place on like the Survivor Love Island channel.
All I heard was Resident Evil Vangabus, and that sounds awesome.
Yeah. It's like a manga of like, it's like Love Island.
Manga. Oh, okay.
It's
wait, do they have sex on it? Hold on. That's a revelation in that series.
I think they imply sex between two people, but it's basically like a reality show. It's like, what if zombies attack a reality show? And also, is it Rebecca Chambers is there? Or like, Jill, somebody is there for no reason whatsoever.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah, that sounds amazing. Okay. Yeah,
for the show,
it's like a what if, like
what if there's implied sex, it is definitely a what if. That's all I'm saying. Nobody bones in the Resident Evil universe.
This episode's getting close to 2 hours, so I think it's time to wrap this up. I want to give an awesome shout out to our intro and outro, courtesy of Balby, aka Mike Stoney from ZP Bite the Bullet. Song is the Cool Kid Squad. You'll see a link in the show notes. Also, before I forgot, later this week you have the first MCU movie episode that I did is going to be coming up here on the show. It's me and 2 other guests that we've had on the show before who are going to be doing it with me. We're covering Iron Man, so keep a lookout for that one. It'll be up here shortly after you hear this, a couple days. Almost forgot that. And I think that's about time. That's enough bullshit I've said. We all said. So we will see you guys next week, and we will keep. Hey, the episode will keep on coming because nothing's going to stop me, not even the T virus. So, thank you guys for all listening. We will see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
I kind of hope an episode comes up where like